Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone has visited the exhibition area, and you must have liked the products and solutions and technologies which are there in the exhibition booths. I encourage you all, if you have any other query, please do visit the exhibition area again and get in touch with the concerned person. I now welcome you all for the fifth panel discussion for the day, that is on security challenges in current wave of digital transformation. This particular session will be moderated by Ms. Shobna Lele. She is Chief Information Officer at Bombay Dyeing, and the panelists are for this session Mr. Manoj Srivastava, CISO Future Generali Insurance Company Limited, Mr. Manoj Nayak, Chief Information and Security Officer, SBI Life Insurance Company Limited, and Mr. Anand Agrawal, Chief Technology Officer at Capital Trust. So we have here CISOs and technology heads of organization from different domain, and we will have a very interesting panel discussion uh, ahead. So I now hand over this virtual mic to Ms. Shobna Lele. Over to you, Ms. Lele. Thank you.
My name is Shobna. I head the IT for Bombay Dyeing, and I'm happy to be the moderator for this session. I will ask each of the panel members to quickly introduce themselves before we move on to the discussion. Mr. Manoj Nayak, if you can start off.
Yeah, thank you, Swapna. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to my panelists and all the delegates. I'm Manoj Naik. I'm CISO of SBI Life Insurance Company, and I am into this IT and information security profession since last 25 years. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Shobna. This is Manoj Srivastava. I'm CISO for Future Generali India Insurance Company Limited, and I'm into information security and information technology field for last 15 years. My primary responsibility is to secure my enterprise and to secure the privacy of the internal and external stakeholders.
Okay.
Hi, hi Shobna. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anand. I have more than 25 years of experience in the industry. I've worked in multiple industries, retail, telecom, BFSI. I work with ICICI, Infosys, and other companies. So currently, I'm with Capital Trust as CIO and CTO. Work with other companies also. So thank you, and thanks for this thing.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to this discussion. I hope staying safe, taking all the precautions. That's really important in this current times. So to start off, let me say that technology and the pace of the technology innovations, right? Organizations also need to keep adapting the technologies to really stay relevant to the market. Because if the organizations don't adopt the technologies, then it's almost the question of whether they stay relevant in the market or not. So while each of the organizations is currently taking their journeys forward in terms of the digital transformation, okay, I want to put the focus on the security officers, on how are they managing the fast pace of the digital transformation that the current pandemic has really accelerated, and what they are doing to ensure that their organizations are safe and secure, right? So I will start off first by asking each of the panels, what is your current state of the infrastructure? Are you having your own data centers? Are you already on the cloud? Are you in the state of migration to the cloud? What exactly is your state of infrastructure? Let's start with Anand. If you could start off.
Anand, you need to
Sorry,
unmute
Anand, we can't
yourself.
hear you. Yeah, unmute, please.
So, okay, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Yeah. So thanks, Shobna, for this thing. I think while Corona or COVID has brought with its own set of challenges, personally and professionally for the society in large and for organizations also, but I think there is a segment of industry which has got benefited because of Corona, and that is the cloud part of its story. Now, I think in case of the organizations which were actually on cloud, when this government announced the lockdown on account of Corona during the March, I think those were the organizations which suffered the least. I mean, from the business continuity perspective. Now, so from in terms of this thing, now what happens that when we talk about NBFCs or MFIs, I mean, there are particular, one is set of rural NBFC, other is urban NBFCs. So when you talk about urban NBFCs, they are pretty much tuned to the innovations, or in terms of whether it's a cloud or whether in terms of various digital channels adoption. But when we come to the rural NBFCs, that is where the entire challenge lies. Now, while we were fortunate enough to be completely on digital, including the digital collections, but as you know, this typically the MFI industries work on a cash collection basis. See, I mean, in NBFCs partly largely works on digital collection. When we talk about the MFIs, it is still largely is on a cash collection basis. Now, small MFIs or NBFC do not have the technical skills in-house. Now for them to be able to move onto the cloud or to have these things enable various channels, they face a major challenges during this Corona lockdown. Now, to that extent, this has hastened the entire in terms of process of going onto the cloud or the going into the digitization, to ensure that business remains I mean, least impacted. Because in this kind of industry, it is not the technology that only plays a role. It is the set of consumer that you have. See, unlike urban NBFCs, the rural customer, there's a lack of awareness. I mean, lack of smartphone users. I mean, so because you have a group loans, small loans, to make them aware in terms of using the digital channels is also a big issue. So, but however, I would say that I think, so if you give an example, now you want to, there is a small MFI, and you want to enable a digital channel. You were earlier into the cash collection. Now, because of Corona, due to the limited lockdowns and other situations, you have to enable a digital channels. Now, since you do not have a skills with you, you will face a challenge in terms of going digital. So that is one of the challenge which a lot of organizations face during this lockdown times. But I think at the end of it, most of them have come up with the ways to live with it, and to see now, I think we do not have an option. Cloud is no more an option. Cloud is a necessity nowadays. So I think that is what I would rather say. Now, when you move on to the cloud, yeah, so it brings into your own set of challenges, which again brings ultimately these NBFCs into the bit of chicken and egg story. Now, but at the end of it, again, I think we have to Corona is here. I mean, whether Corona or no Corona, I think the world has changed the way we are going to work in now. And I think we all need to adopt to the new world's new mechanism of working now. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Anand. I think some very relevant points. One was you touched upon the rural challenges. I'm sure connectivity is also one of the rural challenges that we have, to have all our consumers connected in terms. Plus, digital payments for you is one of the primary things that has to be enabled for the business to run. Yeah, but cloud is here to stay, is what I understand.
Yeah. So I mean, you are absolutely right, Shobna.
Can we have?
It is easy to enable the digital channels. So you can say I have enabled digital channels, but I think you rightly said, if am I able to get that kind of internet connectivity to be able to use them effectively? I mean, all said and done, that is also an important point which is a big challenge still in the rural India. Yep. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Manoj Naik, if you can, also give us a little idea of how your organization is in the current state and what is the adoption of cloud in your organization.
Yeah, so if you look at the challenges
You need to
that
unmute,
has been
please.
faced by various, sorry, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Hello, am I audible now? Yeah. So if you look at the challenges that has been faced by
Yes.
various sectors, so including the BFSI and manufacturing and all the sectors during the start of the pandemic, and the working environment they used to do before the pandemic. So if you look at both the perspectives, so very few companies had a work from home or a remote working environment. So and some kind of companies they are having a remote working being enabled for few of their users. So maybe to the people who are involved in the sales, or maybe people who are at a senior management hierarchy. And the third kind of companies who had around 70%, 80% of employees or staff enabled with the remote working environment. So the third kind of companies may come under the IT and ITS technologies companies who are already enabled with a remote working. So once the pandemic has started, the most important challenge was probably for the IT departments and the IT people was how to enable the business continuity, and that is not from the office and also from a remote infrastructure. So either it could be from the home of people, or wherever the staff is located, that has to be enabled with the remote working. So though desktops, laptops was also a little bit difficult to provide, not to send to the people, the centralized infrastructure was a much more challenge, and it was not very easy to set up the centralized infrastructure in such a very less number of days. So as Anand told, yes, at that point of time, many organizations has gone to cloud, and because it was very easy to deploy, and within a very less time, the organizations could test the remote environment or remote working and enable their critical infrastructures into the remote, and they have allowed their staff to access the remote. And if you look at what happened during last 4 5 months, now it has become a new normal. So it is not a business continuity. So in the start where it was the business continuity, now it has become a new normal. And you would have heard that many technology companies also has already announced that going forward, most of their employees will continue to work from home only. So one is that they will reduce the cost, and also there is a satisfaction for the employees to some extent. So and also the employees will able to do a work-life balance. So there are many advantages and many disadvantages. Probably those companies have taken all those things into considerations, and they have put up a strategy roadmap for the work from home. So having said that, now work from home has become a new normal. So it has also increased the security challenges. So if you look at the studies, so different independent studies has already been published. There is a around 350 percentage to 400 percentage increase in the phishing attacks. So it's very normal. So the attackers know that everybody has been working from home or working from a remote setup, and it is very easy to target those peoples. Probably because another thing that the security controls which would have been at the office may not be those strong enough at the work from home environments. So these are the learning phases for all the organizations. And with this time, in fact, I can say almost everybody has strengthened their security infrastructures along with the IT infrastructure also to provide the facility of work from home. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Yeah, I think to brief, you started with saying remote working was earlier, for a niche category of employees. I think that now does not exist anymore. It's a new norm that all of us have to accept, and work from anywhere is now almost something that all of us have to really accept and move on. Any inputs on any further thoughts on this, Manoj Srivastava?
Well, so
Yes.
am I audible first? Yeah. As we know that every coin has two sides, and nowadays digital and you know cloud, these things has become hot potato to discuss upon. But as Manoj and Anand rightly said that we are passing through a big transformation journey. So if we look into transformation, it has three key pillars: people, process, and technology. So most of the things we take care of, processes and technology, but parallel we should also take care of, enhancing skill sets and adaptability of our people. And that is very important. Like Manoj rightly said, that phishing attacks are increased by 350 to 400%. Wherein, if you think from security perspective, no technical solution can give you 100% guarantee. You go with any solution. So the right solution is how you educate your people, and that is also become very important in nowadays. We should go with enhancing skill sets, awareness among our people, not only our people, but also to some extent with our customer, maybe through some emailers or something like that. And we should parallel make sure that whatever transformation we are doing, and it is reaching to right person at right time with right efficiency. And for that, all these three pillars should be taken care of during the transformation.
I think a very, very valid point, people, process, and technology. And a lot of times, we keep focusing on the technology aspect of it or the process aspect of it. But yeah, just as you mentioned, the people part of it is as much important, and it is the third pillar. So we cannot afford to ignore it, whether it is in terms of skill sets of the internal IT teams, whether it is the skill set of the users who are going to use the IT system, or even the external consumers who are going to actually be the external face point for your systems, right? It needs to be taken into consideration when designing systems. So thank you for all of those wonderful inputs. So as I understand, the pandemic has really accelerated, the cloud journeys, or even the transformation journeys. So how much of the complexity has been added because of the pandemic? Because all of us are still mostly working from home. So how really easy or hard has it been over the last few months to actually accelerate these transformation journeys for all of you? Anybody volunteering to come first can start.
Okay, so I'll go.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, Shobna, I mean, when we talk about the this NBFC or MFI industry, so I mean, there are multiple MFIs which are very small, or they do not have very good robust technology systems in place, or they have some kind of technology, but they do not have technical skills in-house available to be able to manage or to do these kind of movement towards the cloud or adopting the digitization channel. So I think for these kind of organizations, the challenge are multifold. I mean, there is on one hand, because of this COVID, you have a serious impact on the business. Your collections are down. I mean, you do not have since you do not have the technology channels, you have a limited in terms of reaches. Now on top of it, you have to you do not have technical skills to be able to do integrations with the digital payment channels. while I think while some payment, I think so. While this is a challenge, but at the same time, technology has come up with a solution also for these kind of industries, especially wherein they have created some kind of web page wherein you can just upload the data using an Excel sheet into the bulk upload, and it enables the people to be able to give you a payment through the digital channels, through UPI or through the web page or whatever mechanism. So a workaround has been created by the technology for these kind of industries. But I think the challenge are humongous. I mean, it has added the more complexities. Now you have to add security layers into it. I mean, you may have created some kind of short-term solution around it, but then it has to be robust, scalable, which again is a big challenge, which industry is coping up with, and still it will take time to come up with a full-fledged solution around it. So this is especially for the small NBFCs or MFI industry.
Yeah, I agree there. A lot of the businesses got severely impacted during the pandemic, and it was a double-edged sword where although the business was down, but at the same time we had to keep the business running. So there was a cost impact, but there was also a challenge in terms of cash flows for companies because the business had slowed down due to the pandemic. So yeah, very valid points.
And other thing is that this is one industry which never thought that work from is something a possibility also. I mean, while other people still had luxury of somebody at some scale, but this industry never had a work from home concept at all, even in their dreams kind of thing. So suddenly, from all the challenges again on top of it, to look into work from home, and that to where you have 80% collection coming in cash and work from home is I think, but this industry has come up fairly strong from this corona.
Yeah, surely. I think that's a really a good thing that's come out of the pandemic. That the transformation in terms of and the acceptance of the digital methods has really accelerated across the country. Yeah. Any inputs, Manoj, on this?
Swapna, so as Anand rightly said, if you look at some sectors like Anand has said, people hardly thought, people, their staff will work from home, and the business will also be continued as it was being continued earlier. So really it was the scenario, and when the work from home was started, if you look at the organization's boundary has been increased. So we used to say earlier that we have firewall, we have IPS to prevent the threats coming into the organization's network. So and those are the perimeter devices. So if you see now, what is the perimeter? Now we are working in a perimeter less environment. So the perimeter has really expanded to not to anywhere. Means either to internet, to cloud, and to everywhere. And it is not only for the staff or for the employees of the organizations. So if you look at the some organizations have also outsourced their key business processes. So if you talk about the insurance company rely on the call centers to pursue with the customers. So whether it is for a new insurance policy or whether it is a renewal of the existing insurance policy, they have to chase the customers, because customer will tend to forget when their renewal is due. So and the call centers have also stopped, and they have also started work from home environment. So you need to integrate both the work from home environment so that your business will continue, your process will continue. So that is just I am giving just one of the examples where almost all the insurance companies and also the banks would have faced it, and they have also crossed those challenge, and their business has been continued till now. So I think we may have to unmute.
Yeah. I said perimeterless working, like that term where all of us have to really get used to that term now. It's become the norm of the day. Yeah, Manoj Srivastava.
Well, so rightly, said by Manoj and Anand that earlier the things, the services and resources were exposed to limited set of people. But now, the resources are exposed on cloud, and that is demand of current digitization is and current, the post-pandemic new normal. So I think digital identity is going to become very important in coming days. Uh, no matter from where I'm working, but how I prove my identity online, that is something digital identity, and that is going to play a very important role. The things is going to be, deviceless. I can use my mobile, I can use BYOD, I can use my company's laptop, but the identity is a unique concept which is going to be same and constant. And as different uh, classified industries we have like pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, BFSI. But one thing is very common, that is information technology and information security. So it's all about not only simply moving to cloud, making the services available to people, but also going through proper risk assessment and the methodology of risk assessment should also be transformed with time, and that should also be accelerated as we are accelerating the digital transformation of any organization. And I think the identity and access management and digital risk management should be an integral part of management, and that will help definitely to save the interest of organization with respect of data privacy and information security.
Yeah. So risk management being one of the most important topics in current times, because organizations are moving really fast for adopting the digital, but at the same time they cannot afford to overlook the risk that brings in with these kind of digitizations, and that's where the role of the CISOs, right, become of extreme relevance. So let me jump to the question of how is the role of a CISO in your organizations? How do you plan to evolve this role going forward?
Well, so I simply look into two basic things. One is I don't want to be strong, but I want to be resilient. And even the philosophy says the thing which is not strong but elastic can long laster than the stronger one. So I think how my organization productivity is, that is one of major role that CISO can play into. I'll give you a very small example. That suppose the regulatory authority has approved that even digital delivery of any policy document will be treated as policy is delivered. So, which logically means that I can deliver my policy documents on WhatsApp also, which means I have to do some kind of integration with my core system and the other, open source systems or such social media systems to ensure we are into new normal and digitization. Now, here CISO's role is becoming very important, that how he is looking into the strategy to enable the business securely, rather not becoming, some struggle kind of into business or stopper. So whenever such project initiates, it's a joint responsibility of the leadership team of organization to get into conceptual risk assessment, to plan the project securely and efficiently, and then before going live there has to be certain assessment, which in measure of the sectors the regulatory bodies have already documented. And then second, very important measurable KPI should be the recovery time, because one thing is very true, that if I have not faced any data breach till now, the truth remains same, that in future definitely I'm going to face that. So how can I minimize impact of that, and how soon can I recover? So that recovery time and the productivities are two measurable KPIs and very important KPIs CISO should take it into consideration and to present before leadership team. And the conventional approach of security will definitely be, transformed into something very new kind of approach. Like earlier, we used to have, firewalls, then firewall rule review, and a lot of things. But now into boundaryless or multi-cloud environment, I think data privacy is very important. First of all, we have to identify what is important and to be protected. For me, it's my policyholders' data, PII, SPDI, and then maybe health information. For banks, it may be monetary things. That has to be identified, and relevant and appropriate controls should be taken into consideration and immediately deployed with some kind of flexible option. Like if I implemented WAP with some appliance on my perimeter or data center, tomorrow I'm going to cloud. The WAF is going to play zero role for my organization. So that kind of a strategy should have a CISO should take into consideration. That is very important. And then, of course, this is not very easy, but CISO should also think into getting into quantitative risk assessment rather qualitative risk assessment. That is very important because uh, many of the organizations CISO is into board now, and those who are not will definitely very soon. So if I have to protect something which has an impact of 100 rupees, I need 20 rupees approval to protect, which means I'm reducing risk of 80 rupees. Okay, approved. If I have to invest 120 rupees to protect 100 rupees, that doesn't make any sense. And that's why digital risk assessment and quantitative risk assessment is very important. And this is very huge topic to talk into. There are a lot of
Yeah.
things, but these are
Hmm.
from top angle very important.
Uh, yeah, in fact, Swapna, I'll just take forward what Manoj Srivastava has told. So, of course, the risk management has plays a very important role in our day-to-day life, and also every organization has also doing a little bit of risk management, and we all know unless we manage the risk properly, we will not able to grow in the business also. So whether it is a business risk or compliance risk or investment risk, market risk, then IT risk and infosec risk. So and if you look at the BFSI sector, so if you talk about the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, then I'll talk about the insurance regulator IRDI. So both these regulators has already published their regulations that CISO function should be there in every organization, and the CISO function should report to the risk management function. So that means they have identified that information security or cyber security is an important risk management function, and these risks need to be managed very properly inside the organizations. So as we enable the business into IT, and almost everybody has enabled or integrated their businesses into IT environment, the IT security risk is also grows proportionately, and that risk need to be mitigated. So that risk need to be managed very well. And in this kind of situation, the CIO and CISO role complements with each other. So yesterday, just I was reading an article of McAfee CIO. So he was telling that he wanted that CISO of his organizations to tell him where he is going wrong. So whether in the process of transforming the business into digitization, or while doing a speed while improving the speed of the transformation, whether he is making anything wrong, whether he is missing any cyber security aspects of those IT environment. So he is very open that he is CISO to point out the mistakes that he has been doing. And also it is a very good article. In fact, he was telling that even in the boardroom also he wanted his CISO to tell him where he has gone wrong, and he wanted to correct those things. So CISO and CIO are no more at a loggerheads for the organizations, but both complements with each other. to identify the IT risk, to identify the information security risk, and to manage it in a well managed in a proper manner, so that the organizations can be prevented from any attack, and the business can be continued as in the same way.
Yeah, very well said, Manoj. I know a lot of peer organizations as well, where cybersecurity, which was never a topic earlier, is now a part of boardroom discussions. There are also now regulations that the government has helped us with, which furthers the cause of cybersecurity, which is the right thing to do. So yeah, even I do see a change, happening in the recent times where these topics are now a part of boardroom discussions, where earlier, it would simply be an IT topic and, never considered to be discussed in, with her board members. But now this is becoming almost a regulation. So that's a really good thing from the organization standpoint. Any further thoughts, Anand?
Yeah, so I think first, I think Manoj Naik rightly said that now CIO and CISO role complement each other. That is first thing. And Manoj Srivastava also mentioned very rightly, especially true in again in this MFI and VFC industry, that to protect 100 rupees, if I ask 20 rupees, I may get an approval. But other way around, it will certainly not. So I mean, in the old days, I may, if to protect 100 rupees, I may get an approval for 5 rupees. But I'm sure now I will get approval for 20 to 30 rupees. So that has helped the CISO or CIO to be able to say, yes, I can do more into the security point of this something. But I think while there were always regulations by the regulator, and which is RBI in this case, especially for companies which are more than 500 crores of AUM. But seeing the lot of ransomware attacks which have been happening over during these COVID times, regulators also further strengthen the monitoring and reporting mechanism, which an NBFC MFI has to go through, and while internally as well as externally. So the steps to be followed, and how the reporting has to be done, what all needs to be do, all that has I think taken care of. But see, so this industry, so while this industry was one which has less spending on the security, but at now the situation has changed, where this industry is there, where the lot of money is, management is giving a lot of money towards strengthening the security of from the various perspective. Now, but as I said earlier also, see, you can do a limited by deploying a technology only, unless and until you have ensure that the last mile, which is your field sales people, which your collection people, unless and until they are made aware of the importance of these security measures and of all these things, no matter what technology you deploy, you will always have some kind of challenges. And Manoj also mentioned that no technology can guarantee that you will be 100% safe from the all kind of ransomware, all kind of attacks. And we all know, I think, that employee is the weakest link in this entire chain. So a lot of efforts are being made to make people aware in terms of the importance of the cyber security and what all you can do. So at the same time, you have to do a lot of steps to ensure that your own applications are made security from vulnerability proofs, or the controls, to ensure that it becomes extremely difficult for a people with malicious intent to be able to break it. If there's no organization is 100% proof, hack proof, that we have seen in the recent times. Even we know one of the world we call a security organization also have been hacked. So forget about all the user organizations. So I think the role has tremendously increased. It has become more complex. So CISO has to wear the hat of the business head also. So he can not only be the technology leader now. I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, very true. And just to carry on from there, if you did touch upon the security challenges, so if you have to say, the top three security challenges that possibly are something that you give a high priority to, there are a lot of them, I know, but the top three that come to you, what would they be, and how would you really handle them?
So, so for me, see, in my industry, the biggest challenge that I face is in terms of one of the awareness or literacy of the people. First is in terms of the last mile people, whether it's my end customer or whether it is my end employees. How do I enable them first to be able to use the latest digital channels? I mean, there are a lot of end customer who wouldn't even know how to be able to use a smartphone. While their kids may be aware of it, they may know how to use Facebook, WhatsApp, but to be able to use the mobile app, I mean, you can't expect them to be on using the laptop something. So you have to have used them to be able to use the mobile app only. Now that is one side. So other is that even your employees, I mean, the skill set of the employees which are deployed in the field to be able to source or for the purpose of making the EMI collection, the skill set is not too good. Now, for those employees, to first is to make them aware of the how to use the digital channel, and then comes the how efficiently you can use those channels from the security standpoint perspective. And Manoj rightly mentioned, I mean this industry, I mean, like insurance, I mean, here also you capture a lot of PII data. Now you need to ensure that PII data cannot be compromised. So you have to have so like we have some kind of mobile app through which you capture the data and ensure that data is not on the user mobile. You containerize that particular mobile. But if it is my mobile, why should I let you as an organization give a control of my mobile and let you install the mobile device management software, other things? That's again a big challenge. So there are multiple such challenge. In one is the cost, other is awareness, other is so this is some of the, and then awareness of the employee in general in work from home scenario. So industry which never thought they can work from home, to that particular industry employees whose skill is also a challenge, to make them aware of the security, make them security conscious in itself is a big challenge.
Yeah, true. So awareness.
Well,
Sorry.
Yeah, so taking
well,
what Anand has said,
Hmm.
so the people, like he said, the employees or people are the weakest link in the chain. So in fact, I can also add, they are also crucial link in the chain. So they are the weakest as well as the crucial link. So they can make the things, they can break the things
True, true.
also. So there are people, like if you talk about the system administrators or database administrators, they are the people
Yeah.
who make the systems secure enough. And if you talk about the end users who do not know how to use a mobile applications, and if you talk to them, okay, you create a password which is complex enough to break, and to be broken by an attacker. So it is really difficult for them to understand what do you mean by complex. So no, if you tell, okay, it is a alphabetic should be there, numerical should be there, special character should be there. So they'll just put password 123 at the rate. So and it is very easy to break into it. So and if there is a attack, by compromising a simple password, and the attacker get into the system, who will be held responsible? So in fact, I agree with both of my colleagues who said that the awareness is one of the most important step, and also is one of the important challenge for everybody, and all organizations are facing towards it. And in fact, if you see, the 30th November yesterday was the Computer Security Day, which has been observed across the globe since probably since last 50 years. And if I give an example of my organizations, so we are observing this day in a very big way. So around this day, for a period of 1 month, we celebrate Computer Security Month, and this day is basically to remind the users, so what is the concerns of the computer security, and what are the steps that need to be taken to secure the computers and to secure the data that is stored inside the computers. So the challenge is apart from the PI data of the customer, which is the most important thing for all the VFSI companies. If you look at what is the crown jewel for a pharmaceutical company, why the pharmaceutical companies are getting attacked nowadays? Because probably some of those companies are in a process of developing a vaccine. Okay, and that formula is the most critical asset for them. And if you look at why the power sector is getting hacked nowadays, because people, those are the critical infrastructure of the country. So the and the attackers wanted to break it. So these are the different aspects, critical aspects, which vary from company to company. And also another aspect, if you look at from the BFSI company's perspective or from other companies' perspective, the investment function of a company. So if you look at the investment function is the most important function of a company, and the investment data is a critical data. So apart from the data privacy, this investment data is the most important data for a company, which has to be secured enough. And if you look at how we should face these challenges, yes, the problems are there, the attacks are there. And if I can say, there are probably 2 to 3 type of organizations, where one type of organizations where they have already faced an attack, and the second type of organizations, they have faced the attack but they don't know whether they have faced it. And third type of organizations who are really every day they are finding out if there is a loophole in their IT environment or security environment, and they try to take all preventive, corrective, and deterrent steps. So these three things are very important. So one is the preventive, whatever the controls that can be implemented as proportionate to the business assets, that has to be taken as a preventive control. And second is, while doing the security compliance check or security compliance verifications, if we find something, then immediately we need to do a corrective steps. So we need to mitigate those security vulnerabilities which is being reported through the compliance activities. And third is also the deterrent as well as the detection. So the deterrent step is, yes, everybody has the policies, procedures, but we need to keep the employees aware on those policies, procedures, or a very simple acceptable users policy, what the employees or the users should do and should not do with their computer assets. And putting everything into in order, the most important thing is the detection. So what is happening in an organizations in the IT setup, we need to continuously monitor it. So that is the detection. So that if we can detect very fast, then only we will able to take corrective steps. If we will not able to detect, then we will not able to do a corrective steps. And probably there would have been some attacks, and there would have been some malwares who had already entered into the network for since last 6 months or 8 months, and nobody is aware. But if there is a strong detection technology is in place, then probably it will be able to known to the IT folks, yes, something is happening which is should not happen. So that was the 4 things that we must be aware, and we must need to implement in our setups.
Well, so
Yeah,
I'll not take much time.
yeah, just one point before you go ahead. Just to add to what Manoj was saying, prevention is better than cure. So I think, the monitoring mechanism or the detection mechanism that you are talking of, I just wanted to bring that point that, it's always better to be, on the monitoring mode rather than getting into the curation mode. Yeah. Yeah, Manoj, you can go ahead.
So, since we all are from regulated industry, and a lot of regulations and guidelines and they are there, and people are organizations are complying with it. So I'll not get into those technical stuffs, but According to me, it's my personal opinion. I only have three challenges, and those top three challenges are: first one, bringing the culture and discipline into organization. Uh, then uh, having a consolidated view and talking or converting the hyperconvergence into simple layman's language, that is simplicity and consolidation. That is second important thing and very big challenge in uh, information on cyber security. And third one is you know uh, being ready or preparedness for worst. Like Anand was saying that ransomware attack. Yeah, we cannot guarantee that there will not be any attack or there will not be any successful attack. At any moment of time there will be some ransomware attack. Even if we detect, we prevent, but there will be something or critical data can be encrypted. So what is our recovery mechanism? How we are prepared for worst? Do we have data backup policies? We have strategy for individual or critical data backup. Those things are very important. So coming from first point of view, bringing culture into organization. So I used to fight a lot with my employees, with my learning and development team to comply with security awareness training, which we need to comply with COBIT also, with the IRDA framework also, ISO framework also. So this year I changed my approach. I scheduled a training. I never talked about any organization information security policy, nothing. I only talked about security of Facebook, security of online payments, security of WhatsApp. That's all. And surprisingly, many people, many colleagues come to me that they have faced such instance in past, and now I'm very much focal point for my employee. Whatever is happening, they come to me. This is going to happen. How should I take care of? Some of my sales and zonal heads, they arrange training with reinsurer for some agents, how to be ready for worst, how to know what are the possible threats, and that really helped me a lot. Now I do not have to fight for any kind of complaints to comply with information or cybersecurity awareness training. So that's how I handled this challenge. Second one is talking hyper convergence into simple layman's language. It is very important, and still I'm struggling to get very good result out of it. However, I have some technical heat map, some scoring mechanism. But yeah, there is an opportunity, a lot of opportunity to have consolidated view of organization from data privacy point of view, from cyber fraud or cyber risk point of view. That is the biggest challenge still I'm facing. And third one is, as I discussed, that the being ready for worst. So according to me, these three are very, very top challenges.
I think very well summarized. Yeah, being prepared for the worst. I think that's a very good mechanism. So at least you're aware. What is the step that you need to take in case the disaster happens. It's like a disaster recovery type of a plan where if a disaster strikes, you need to have your mitigation plan in place. You can't start thinking about what you will do after the disaster has struck. So yeah, very well said point. So I think
Because
now in
at
the interest,
certain point,
yeah,
because at certain point, it's not about ball game or something like that.
yeah,
It's one organization, and we have to restore services and business as soon as possible.
absolutely. It's business first. It's finally all for to enable the business. That's the objective at the end of the day, right? So I think if you have any closing remarks, any of you, then I will then do a little briefing of what we have discussed. I think it's been an extremely good discussion.
Yeah, Sabna. I really appreciate Manoj. In fact, he has brought in a very good point. Talk about the disaster recovery or business continuity management, and that is also one of the most important part for all the organizations. And if you relate those things into a cyber security, so we have been also talking about the cyber crisis management plan or cyber incident management plan. So prepare for the worst, have the playbooks with you ready, and have the correct awareness among the IT and business people to know in case of a disaster or in case of an incident, what are the roles for each kind of set of people, and how should we handle, and how we can make the business to continue further. Thank you.
Yeah, and any closing remarks that you would want to make?
Well, so it was a nice discussion. I learned a lot of things out of this discussion, and I think it's not about member who discuss into panel or someone who get into discussion or someone who listen to discussion. It's all about idea exchange, a platform to exchange idea. Because if I have 1 rupee, you have 1 rupee, we exchange, we have paying 1 rupees each. But if we exchange idea, we all will have two. So we should be contributing to the peers, to the organization, and maybe up to certain extent. I know Manoj, he has very social trainings he has arranged to. I think Manoj, it was you, right, who trained some school children.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes,
So,
yes.
Oh,
there
yes.
should be some social KPI to all these CISOs to do good for society.
Thank you very
Absolutely, I
much.
think it's an extremely valid point. Yeah, we all have our obligations to the society, and we should always look for opportunities where we can contribute, our knowledge and do our bit of, to for the betterment of the society. Yeah, and then any last remarks?
Yeah. No, so I just wanted to, so I think it was a pretty engaging discussion that we all had. So a lot of point got shared and we learned from each other. But I think so from this industry, I would say that one is that cloud is here to stay and it is not an option. It is a necessity for the industry now because it helps you to save, it helps you to speed up the deployment, it helps you to cut cost also. And I think from the security perspective, security awareness is extremely important. While as I agree, Manoj, as you said that while employee are the weakest link, but they are the first line of defense also. So I think that's it from my side.
Thank you, everybody. So I will, slightly brief what all, few of the discussion points that have happened. We did touch upon the rural aspect of India, where there are still challenges that we need to overcome to really achieve the digitization goal of the country, of the company, of the country. Right? Cloud is here to stay, of course. Right, but with the adoption of cloud, it is as much important to look at all the security and the risk aspects of it. Right, the boards have evolved, to cyber security. The boards are looking at how each organization is doing their bit to secure their data, to secure their infrastructure. Right. We touched upon a lot on the people part of the discussion. So whether it is in terms of the user awareness, whether it is in terms of employee awareness, or whether it is in terms of even the customer awareness. Right. I think we did spend quite a bit of time to really make this. It's an extremely important point that if the users are not aware of what could be the implications of not following cyber security principles, then it could be disastrous. And that is how the weakest link or the strongest link could be really determined from what we were speaking. We also spoke about the CISO and the CIO not being at loggerheads with each other anymore. We are now complementing each other's roles, right? Each is a necessity for the other, right? So that also is an important point. The new normal is here to stay for some time. So it has, although it has accelerated the digitization pace, it has also added to the complexity, and because of the fast pace, organizations really need to gear up to ensure that the securities are completely in place during this fast digitization phase, right? So thank you, everybody. It has been extremely a nice conversation and a nice discussion, a lot of good learning, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Shobna. Thanks,
Thank
Manoj.
of digital transformation. This particular session will be moderated by Ms. Shobna Lele. She is Chief Information Officer at Bombay Dyeing. And the panelists are for this session, Mr. Manoj Srivastava, CISO at Future Generali Insurance Company Limited, Mr. Manoj Nayak, Chief Information and Security Officer, SBI Life Insurance Company Limited, and Mr. Anand Agrawal, Chief Technology Officer at Capital Trust. So we have here CISOs and technology heads of organization from different domain, and we will have a very interesting panel discussion ahead. So I now hand over this virtual mic to Ms. Shobna Lele. Over to you, Ms. Lele. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shobna Lele, CIO at Bombay Dyeing, for moderating the fifth panel discussion on security challenges in current wave of digital transformation today at ELETS Data Center and Cloud Summit 2020. I also thank Mr. Manoj Srivastava, CISO at Future Generali Insurance Company Limited, Mr. Manoj Nayak, CISO at SBI Life Insurance Company Limited, and Mr. Anand Agrawal, CTO at Capital Trust, for participating as panelists in this panel discussion and sharing their views, opinion, and expertise on the subject. I thank everyone. With this, we formally now close the day here with this fifth and the last panel discussion, certainly not the least. And I would like to invite the editor-in-chief at the Banking and Finance Post magazine and founder and CEO at ELETS Technomedia Private Limited, Dr. Ravi Gupta, for the closing remark. Thank you.
Namaskar. This is Ravi Gupta again. I am the CEO and founder of ELETS Technomedia Private Limited. And I wish to thank all our eminent speakers and delegates for joining us at the ELETS Data Center and Cloud Summit. I think it has been a great conference with a lot of interactions between audience and speakers, and a lot of new ideas emerging at this summit. And I wish to thank our technology partners, Dell Technologies and Galaxy, for partnering and supporting at this event. I wish to also inform that this event has happened on the Avatar 3D platform, which is a virtual platform for organizing conferences and exhibitions developed by ELETS Technomedia Private Limited. I would also like to invite you to the ELETS second BFSI Security Summit, which is going to be organized on 11th December 2020. Let us stay connected, and I look forward to seeing you all at our next event. And you can check out our website www.eletsonline.com for regular updates on our upcoming events, which are also happening in the sector of education, governance, and health, and CIOs, and the banking sector. With this, thank you and namaste to all of you. Thank you.
रुतबा खड़ा किया है और भारत इसके बात के लिए गर्व कर सकता है। दुनिया में हम आंख में आंख लगा करके बात कर सकते हैं। और ये मेरा साथ मैं हमेशा कहता आया हूँ, IT plus IT is equal to IT. Information technology plus Indian talent is equal to India tomorrow.